Well, hey YouTube, I got something to show you. I had a customer, my customer James, has sent me two Hinderers. There we go. This is why I sold my Hinderer. So what I have is I have an XM18 fatty Tanto with the harpoon tip. This is a nice knife. And then there's this one. This is the Eclipse. And I mean, they're really similar. Really both very similar. But this one has a little bit more of a thicker blade, or I'm sorry, a thinner blade up behind than this one does, because as I've said before, wider blade, longer transition allows you to get some thinner behind the edge back there. Both full titanium. Apparently he likes blue. I like this one. I always like the XM18s. I had an XM18, so we'll talk about this one first. This is the Eclipse. This one is a little bit more ergonomic, but I don't like the grind on it. I don't like the fact it doesn't have a finger choil. It's just got a sharpening notch, which still didn't allow me to get all the way in this one little spot here, and I'm gonna have to talk to James because I don't want to take any more material off his knife just to get that one little spot, because it's still sharp. There's just one little spot where when they were grinding it, they went at a little bit steeper angle right on that little corner. This side was fine, apexed it, and it's fine. This side has got that little flaw, and it's just a tiny spot right there. And typically I will, so you guys know, unless you want me to, I will stop taking metal off. I like the transition here at where the two angles meet. This is why I charge extra for Tantos, so that you guys know, because I'm sharpening two distinct and specific angles and maintaining that secondary point that you get. Yeah, you can see there, you can see the line. That secondary point is what makes these so effective in a snap cut, because it allows, instead of having just a tip here, you have a tip there, and it breaks the surface tension of the skin, and it makes a pretty vicious snap cut. If you've ever watched any of the Cold Steel videos. And so here's the XM18. Now the XM18 comes to has a really curved profile. It's really comfortable if you don't mind it. Some people don't like that really super curved. That's why the Eclipse is popular, because it's more straight. But yeah, both are pretty much the same blade design, the harpoon, everything. This one was a little bit easier to sharpen because it's a little bit thinner behind, and I wasn't having to change the edge profile as much. I had to. There we go. This is my problem with Hinderer knives. Now they have been getting better. So here's that XM18. Still not real snappy coming out. It's got a pretty weak detent. You can see it, pretty weak detent there. This one has even weaker detent. I mean, you could snap. Oh, I got my finger on the lock bar, but I mean, that doesn't have much in the way of a detent. And that's the problem with them, because they're designed to be flippers. If you've got to really load up on it or throw a little bit of wrist into it. The third knife he sent me was another SOCOM Delta. I'm going to start charging you guys extra to sharpen and I don't say it jokingly, I am going to start charging extra for sharpening a microtech Tanto. I hate sharpening them. Microtechs are amazing, but I don't know who they've got sharpening them. It's a lot like Cold Steel. It's ever to get them sharpened, and by the time you take off all the metal you need to, I maintain that secondary point, but I'm past the swell. So you wind up with kind of a thick spot there. It's almost impossible to get it back to exactly the way it was, because I don't know who they got sharpening it. They put pressure on it at different spots. This edge was so wavy. And you gotta remember, this is an expensive knife, these SOCOM Deltas. And the other thing, this is ATS 34, and I don't ever remember sharpening an ATS 34 blade. I didn't like it. It literally took me longer to sharpen this knife than it did to fix the edge on this, sharpen a Sabenza for a guy that I know here in town, and both of these Hinderers. I sharpened 4 knives because I had dinked my my 601 pretty badly, and had to go back, and it had a chip here, and I knocked the tip off, so I had to do a little bit of tip repair. It's still got a little bit of rounded tip. That's not what this is all about. But yeah, it took me longer to sharpen this one than it did to sharpen the other 4. It did. It is so much the metal. The metal had something to do with it. The stones cut really well on this. It's just the way they sharpen it, and it is the same thing that I complain about when I'm talking about cold steel knives. You guys have heard me say. I don't know how they can get it wrong like that sometimes. And so, but it's done. I mean, it's really sharp. So as you guys already know, I charge extras for Tantos anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna, these will be on a case-by-case basis. I have actually really afraid that one of my customers has lost a knife in the mail. So when you insure things for more than $500, it requires a signature. Apparently now, I didn't realize that they had made a change. I just realized that I had my Bluetooth speaker turned on, and I don't know how well that audio was recording. Let me go back, check that, and then I'll finish my statement. Audio came out fine. The audio was fine. Had a customer send me, I think he sent me a Sabenza, and I have tracked the tracking number. It stated it was delivered on Saturday here to my house. It said it was delivered in the box. And I checked the mailbox. I remember Saturday was the day that I was at the county fair, but like I said, he had said he insured it. And I remember back in the day, any insured package, you had to sign for it. Well, apparently that's only for things over more than $500. You can request to add, God, my hands are filthy. That's what happens when I sharpen a bunch of knives at once. You can add, like for an additional $2, you can add or request require a signature, I mean. But he didn't do that, so it got delivered. Apparently it got delivered in the box. I went to the post office. They say that the GPS tag where he apparently was at when he did the delivery and signed it as delivered was in that area, but it didn't go in my box. So I'm wondering if it went to somebody else's mailbox and he just didn't realize it, or, you know, I don't know. But it's been a week. It's been 7 days. And I went to the post office. I initiated an investigation. I don't like seeing you guys' stuff get missing or, God forbid, stolen. I know all my neighbors. I would think that if that was the case, that one of them would have brought it back to me. I don't know. But I've had packages stolen. It hasn't happened for a very long time. We had a ring of people that were stealing stuff, and those are the same people that broke into my house. They were stealing packages from in front of houses. They broke into my house. They stole my guns. They stole computers. They stole my video camera, and they stole, in that video camera was our Disneyland trip videos from that year. Stole my camera. Had a hard drive with every picture we'd ever taken of my daughter up until the age of 5. So I really don't have anything. I don't have anything dating back to when she was born for pictures and things like that. I mean, we have some that we had sent my sister some DVDs and stuff, but I really don't like the fact that it appears that one of my customers may have lost an item in the mail. I don't like that. I don't want to see stuff like that happen. So I'm gonna keep looking, and I'm keeping my eyes open, and I've been expecting a call from the post office, but yeah, I don't know. And then one other thing, I've talked about the other ones in the house. I have 3 of these little pin oilers for different stuff. I had seen that a customer had posted that he was going to keep using CLP. Oop, came off. You guys are free to use whatever you want. I don't like CLP. This is kind of a CLP analog. This was Triflow. I use it on locks and stuff. There's certain things I will use Triflow on, but what happens is CLP, I used CLP for years in the military, doing weapons. I was a weapons guy, and you have to be careful with CLP because that Teflon that's in it, it has a tendency, as the oil varnishes, it gets sticky, and then you've got that sticky mess to clean up, and it gets on stuff, and it's hard to get cleaned out. That's why I kind of kept Triflow around for certain things. This was usually for locks. I have Rem oil. I have a little pin oiler of Rem oil that I use. I only use Rem oil on microtech automatics and other automatics out the fronts, the OTFs, because this does not, I found out if you use certain things, this dry lubricant works a lot better in some of those out the fronts, because those collect gunk down in there. They're hard to take apart, and then you got to basically, the knife gums up. I had used nano oil on my microtech Ultratech, and after a period of time I noticed it just gummed up and didn't work. So what I did was I took the glass breaker off and I sprayed brake cleaner through, and I went back to what they recommend, which was Rem oil, and I haven't had a problem with it. So yeah, no, microtech, another company that has the same problem as Cold Steel. Back to what I was talking about before. I don't want people to think that I'm strictly calling out Cold Steel. Microtech, which is a really, really big name company for making quality knives, and there's some controversy around them, but they run into, you have the same issues with them. Misground, 90% of the time I have to reprofile this. I was hoping this wouldn't be that bad. I am probably not going to charge too much. I'm probably only going to charge my Tanto price, but I did. It took me, I watched almost an entire movie. That's how long it took to sharpen this one. I did 4 other knives, and then had been watching a movie, did 4 knives, and of course watching a movie, started another movie as I was finishing this one, and it took the whole rest of that movie for me to do one knife. And that's what you run into. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I can do a knife in 15 minutes and have it out the door, and you know, that's $25 in 30 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, with setup and cleanup and stuff like that. But then you run into the ones that are like this, where it might take me 2 hours and I'm only making 25, 30 bucks. It's like that in the insurance industry. Some days, the other day I made $400 in 3 hours, but I didn't make any other money for the rest of the week. Some weeks are like that. Yep, it's done, it's going out the door. I would not recommend CLP as a knife lubricant, just specifically because what I said, my Sebenza, I'm going to stick with the fluorinated grease, or I may get the nano grease that they sell. I have a Instagram follower that is talking about sending me some of that when he sends me a Sebenza. I am going to anodize it. Anodizing, like I said, I am doing anodizing now. If you want, I can do anodizing and stuff like, you know, specific colors, and so you guys know, I learned, and I'm still learning from Mr. Christopher Williamson, who is possibly one of the best in the business when it comes to, if not the best, when it comes to amazing knife finishes and anodizing and coming up and you know, pushing the limits of what you can do with titanium anodizing. So I'm still learning a lot, but so that you can feel comfortable in making sure that I'm not going to screw your knives up. There's going to be a fee with that, mainly because I have to take the knives apart. And because I'm taking knives apart and there's a risk, and I'm going to have to put it back together, and then I'm going to have to probably, on certain knives, recarbonize the lock face and things like that. There's going to be, it's probably going to be a fee that's right in line with what it costs for sharpening. Because you got to remember, I have to take the knife apart, I have to put it back together, I have to clean it all up, I have to relubricate it, I have to take the old anodizing off if it needs it, and things like that. So yeah, it's gonna be something that you guys are gonna have to pay me for, because the other thing is I can't do it here. I can't do it at my house. If I have to go and leave and go somewhere to do it, then that's an additional cost as well. So I'm thinking right around $30, $35 a piece. That's not one scale. That's like the whole thing. And then if you want specific like two-tone and you want it green and then tumbled and then bronze on top of it, that's something I think about too, because I don't have a tumbler. I'm bogarting time in the Williamson boys tumblers. So yeah, no, I just wanted, we had never gotten any Hinderers in. That's just so annoying. It's supposed to be like that. Even this one is got a little bit of, it's not snappy. It's a pretty weak detent. I think I just got spoiled. I got spoiled with these because there's no, that detent, there's no, you can't, there's no play in that. Like there's no movement. You can't wiggle that. It just fires. It has a lot to do with the Hoback rolling detent. I'll explain that in a later video about why the Hoback rolling detent doesn't necessarily reduce any friction, but what it does let you do. Okay, guys, it's about a 14-minute video. It's hot out here. I'm gonna spend the rest of my day getting stuff cleaned up and ready for me to go to work tomorrow, because I get my lunch ready and I get my clothes ready and everything done, because all the stuff that my wife does and spoils me. She really does spoil me. I have to do on my own now, so I have to do all of that, and I don't know, maybe watch a movie or something. I think I'm just gonna hang out at the house with the dog. And the dog's in there, it's hot. She's laying on the floor in the kitchen. So yeah, no, that's it, guys. I'm gonna close this up and I will see you guys next time.